We'll start this, everyone. Hope you're doing good, feeling blessed, looking forward to a nice weekend. Um, when I was a little kid, I lived in the housing projects. If you watch the video about the fireworks and the $50, you can see what it looked like. And there wasn't a lot of plants or gardens, trees, natural. There wasn't a lot of nature there. And I would get in trouble a lot as a little kid and grounded, so I would always read books while I was grounded, and my favorite books were always about the jungles or the oceans. And so I think what sparked that was sometimes people would park their cars on the lawn, and sometimes when they would take off, they would burn rubber. And there was a little like baseball diamond sized patch of grass in front of our house, and I think my dad was drunk and burned rubber and created an indentation where the tires, dug into the mud. And one time I went outside. It was like a sunny day, and that thing was filled with water, and the water was clear because it was stagnant. It had been sitting there for a while, and I remember seeing movement in it and looking and seeing these little creatures moving around, and it just blew my mind that life could spring from just this puddle of water, and I wondered how it got there. And as I grew up, I learned, that was mosquito larvae. Mosquitoes, they're in the air, but they lay their eggs in the water, and half of a mosquito's life is spent underwater. I used to breed them actually to feed my freshwater fish. Um, and so it, it even made me think about, because I was just barely learning about the Bible, and I was learning about creation. And somehow that made me think about creation because it seemed to just spring from nowhere. And it blew my mind, and I'd been fascinated ever since. And 40 years later, this is where I'm at. I've had a lot of fish tanks, little ones. I've had jars where I just grew seaweed to see how it would grow. And then lo and behold, little bugs start popping up. But over 40 years, I've been having fish tanks and getting better and better at keeping them, and them getting better. And although this one is kind of an ugly tank when you compare them to tanks of people that have, the stony polyps, the harder ones, their rocks are all purple, what have you. And maybe I'll get there one day. It's out of my price range and skill set right now, but still, this is the best fish tank where I've ever been. And I'll say that sometimes I feel guilty because I do worry about climate change, and I have 8 different cords, running to electricity to maintain this. And I even bought a generator just for this fish tank in case the power goes out. I was okay with me and my family struggling, having to eat through the fridge if we had a long power outage, but I can't let this go without power for a long time because they wouldn't survive. It's a lot of maintenance, but it's a labor of love. So that said, let me take you closer and show you where we're at. So as you can see, there's 2 clownfish right there, and I've had them for several months, and they're just barely starting to take to the anemone. That's where they're supposed to have a symbiotic relationship where they bring food back to the anemone, and the anemone in nature would provide them some sort of protection against more predatory fish. The big anemones would sting the fish and eat them, and in the ocean, it's just covered with them. So that's an anemone. This right here is an eclectus mushroom, and it's It's one of the more expensive ones. As good as this filter is capturing some of the light, it's not capturing the metallicness of it. Here I have some zoanothids, some more. I really like macroalgae. This is dragon's breath. And here I have some volunteer red bubble algae. This mushroom I bought for $30, and it's been the most prolific mushroom I've ever had. You can see two babies there. There's a baby there, and I think there's two in the macroalgae. So, okay, let's keep moving. There's another anemone. That one I was able to haggle for. And I think the fish store just gave it to me for free. Here is one of my nicer corals. That's a Holy Grail acan. And initially I think the store had it for $300. And I asked if they could cut it into little pieces and sell me one little piece for $100. And they did. And now it's grown way bigger than the original one at the store. That one's doing pretty good. And then right above it, you have this zoanothid garden. I have this crate here so that there's water movement underneath the, throughout, underneath the rocks. But at some point, these zoanothids are going to cover the entire crate, and then I can just cut it and then sell the pieces or start new ones. Those are blue zoas, which I really like. There's those which the light is not letting me capture them, but those are really pretty as well. And then I'm trying to move slow so the focus doesn't go out. These I bought pretty small, and they've really blown up. Okay. Back there I have a interstellar, I think, mushroom, which I really, really like. That right there is a green sunset, so it's green with orange spots. That fanworm in the white light. So right now I'm all blue light, but during a good part of the day there's white light mixed in here, and that fanworm is purple and yellow. It's really pretty. That back there is a hairy mushroom, and it's about the size of maybe $3 silver. That one I think I picked up for almost $200, and it's grown 3 times in size. So hopefully it gives me babies, and then I can trade them back to the pet store and or sell them, and that'll help pay for some of the maintenance on here. That I think is a hammer, or I don't know the names. I just kind of buy them sometimes because I think they're pretty. So then there you have some. I should have put the macro lens. That's a St. Thomas mushroom, and right there in the back there's a Recordia. And then here you have some acans. This one I just bought for I think they had it for $40, and I said I'd take it. And then when they rang me up, we said, you know what, it's kind of small, so I'll just give it to you for $20. And I think it's one of these. And when I bought this, it was the size of an eraser head. And I got it for like a pencil, the little eraser on the pencil. It was that big. I think it was like $40. And so I just saw one of these at the pet store, this size, for $500. So if this turns out to be the same thing, and it just hasn't colored up, I'll sell this one to help pay for the aquarium maintenance and keep the other one. Here you have some mushrooms, more mushrooms, and this has kind of been my pride and joy. It's called an OG bounce mushroom, and it's got orange and green spots. That one I bought the size of a nickel, and I paid, I think, $250 for it, and now it's the size of a silver dollar. So that's another one I hope gives me babies. Some of these corals are kind of expensive, but when I had freshwater fish, I bought what at the time were some of the most expensive fish you could buy, which were called discus. And I would buy them as tiny little babies for like $30-$40, and then grow them to where they were pretty big and sell them for $300 and $400. And I would feed them earthworms that I dug up, so I wasn't paying for food. And then I had a bunch of plants in there, so that was a lot of the filtration. One time I went to this like mansion like house on a golf course, and the guy had 2 Mercedeses, and it was all from selling fish. He was selling those discus fish and selling mated pairs for like $2,000-$3,000. I haven't made any money off this fish tank. I mostly lost money, but I could split that one and get my money back, and then actually double my money and still have a little piece I can keep growing out. One day I hope to breed fish. I saw this guy who bought a like a really small Japanese micro angelfish, and I think he paid they're probably like $3,000, and there's a waiting list for them, and someone breeds them. Saltwater fish are not easy to breed. I've never bred one. But if I get good enough at keeping corals, maybe I'll try to breed fish and then help save populations. I did see that scientists found that corals had these cancer-fighting properties. And so, you never know. Anyways, this is the best fish tank I've ever had. I'm really happy with it. I'm proud of it. I got a ways to go, but it's doing okay. It's I got room to grow, but I'm really happy with where I'm at right now, and I'll just keep learning and getting better at this. And, hopefully I retire one day and I got a whole room full of fish tanks. All right. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope you have hobbies that bring you as much joy as mine do to me. And much love. God bless.